Yo, I so I figured I'm gonna get I'm gonna do a part two to the last video I did. And the reason why I'm doing a part two is because I feel like everything is not contained within the one video. Not only did more thoughts come to mind, but just ideas will always come across that would lead me to make a part two, part three. So this is gonna be the part two. All right, and what I liked is that people are actually asking questions. It's different kind of questions, which we'll dive into that. But yeah, questions are a good thing. People want to know where this is coming from, what I'm talking about. That's good, right? But then you got those who come and they ask the other types of questions. Like, what they're doing is they're questioning the idea behind what I'm doing. And what I see in that is somebody who already doubts themselves. Because again, I'm only trying to build self-positive awareness, self-positive motivation. And when you get to that dark tunnel, the only thing that's going to get you through is what you think about yourself. If you say you a courageous, brave person, you're going to get through. If you say you scared and you not the type to make it to the next level, then you might find yourself not making it. So just gaining that understanding, I can see, because it's something that once the world mind gets a hold of it, they tend to take it and throw it in a scientific category, and they want to see results quickly. People ask questions and come across like this is something superstitious or something. And what I notice in a lot of people like that is they have an idea or respect more of the scientific world. Whereas when you get into a religious practice or anything in, let's say, your earlier life, what you start to gain within you is a level of spirituality. That level of spirituality is what you're meant to utilize in this case and situation. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to push it all the way into the category of a religion, but the spirituality that I'm asking you to have is faith. It's just to believe in yourself, not believe in anything else that you could bring to the table that's going to take the power from you and put it into that. Just let it be the power from within you, all right? So what I'm basically explaining in this, the way that this is unfolding is even down to the Bible. You know what I mean? When the devil asks, if you be the son of God, turn these stones into bread. Same thing, bruh. Same thing. All right? Happened 1,000 years ago. It happens to me online on YouTube. All right? Everybody asking me to make these things happen. And anybody that knows that's on a level of spirituality has a clear understanding that you don't just see it just unfold right within your eyes. It ends up being something you pray, you wait on, and when it unfolds, you don't see how it happens. You didn't really see where it was going to stem or come from, but you understand the outcome, the end result. And that's that scientific side that a lot of people want to figure out, but there's no way in figuring out the God power. The way that God moves is there's no way you're going to really call every single step that's made. You might have ideas, but in most cases, you don't know the how. All right? So we're not here to turn stone to bread. All right? I'm not here to play that game and go back and forth and try and run back with things that I've already done in my life to prove to y'all that this is a way out. You might have a different way. I'm just explaining that this is one of the ways that I find to be 100% behind what I feel is working for me. So for all the people coming in on the channel, and I do understand you have questions and things like that, I'm open to that. But when you asking me to turn stone to bread, that's going on a different page. You're going on a different level. I understand that person's level of spirituality is not at the highest. Their level of belief is not where it needs to be. So they're looking for a scientific way out. They want something to happen instantly. All right. They need to develop some patience, and possibly that'll help them gain that understanding that's needed. All right. So let's get into this, because this definitely ties into the last video in terms of us talking about enemies, adversaries, right? And what we basically left off with is fear being man's number one enemy, right? Because fear is only inverted faith, the belief in evil over good. So you could always put that into any situation and gain an understanding of what it really, really means. If you were in any situation and you put fear in the forefront, whatever you are afraid of, you could kind of see it is not really something good. And the fact that you're afraid of it, you're putting that evil over good. If you drop the fear, right? You drop the fear and let the good thoughts sink in. Think about what you want to happen, what you want to see, and that's the direction you'll go in. All right. It's not for you to think about and how many different ways things could possibly happen, because scientifically it happened 46% of the time or 87% of the time. So you're thinking you're going to be the next time. The next time's not going to be you, because if you're not thinking those thoughts, that's not going to fall on your plate. So what we talking about here is how to get rid of your adversaries, or the adversary, fear, whatever it is, whatever is at your forefront that you want to do away with, right? Your enemy. Now, the way that we're going to look at this is we want to look at what is the adversary. So first off, the adversary is not somebody, it's not somebody else, and it's not someone else. All right? The adversary is the divided mind, the mind that has created opposition, okay? The one that has created another force, another something to come against them, all right? That's the adversary. The adversary is going to be the divided mind, the one who thinks that there's a bad and there's a good. In order for you to defeat the adversary, you have to connect the divided mind into one, into the one God mind, the good mind, where there's nothing else left on the plate. All right? Now, when you're looking at it, you're like, all right, so, connect with the adversary, connect with the God mind, and you're looking at your situation, and you have to understand that the adversary is meant to, you got to overcome on the spot, all right? The place you overcome is right here. The time you overcome is right now. There's no questions. You don't second guess it when it comes your way. Whenever fear comes your way, that's your adversary. You overcome on the spot, all right? No questions asked. How do you overcome on the spot? You think the opposite thoughts, right? Because fear is what's going to tackle you down and keep you contained. Your idea is to think the opposite. So then you're probably saying to yourself, well, okay, so I get into these situations and I'm trying to approach it with the least amount of fear possible, but I don't really have that in me because it looks like such a big obstacle. All right. For some people, they say, oh man, that's an obstacle that I've never really encountered before. I have reason to be afraid. I am human. I should be afraid. So first off, being afraid is not within your divine self. When God made you, he made you perfect. This afraid you speak of is something you've learned from the outside world. It's not come in from how God made you. He didn't include that in the recipe. He said that was something he didn't want to see in you, so he made sure that was not included. So it's real important that you gain that understanding of fear and where it really, really stems from. And people always say, well, I'm human, so I could feel like this and I could be like this. Well, you got to follow the rules of self-mastery, all right? Because a lot of people will approach situations where you need to overcome on the spot, but maybe you didn't do your homework. And what's the homework? Everybody's probably asking, okay, so I want to do my homework. So when I encounter these situations, when I encounter these devils, because don't be surprised when the devils come, you know, they gonna be there. Don't be surprised. Just know that when they come, it's nothing but an opportunity to overcome. All right? They're not there to pull you down and make you struggle. I know there's times that people go back and forth with the devil, with the negative thoughts, with the should I do this? Nah, I shouldn't, because the self-doubt. You're going back and forth. That self-doubt, that struggle right there, you got to stop that. Stop doubting yourself, overcome on the spot, and take over. Think with the good thoughts. Think about in the direction you want to go in. But again, before you get there, you need to do your homework. What's the homework? The rules of self-mastery. Tell your body how to react. Tell your mind how to feel. Tell your mind how to think, and tell your feelings how to feel. Really simple. All right, you carry those three. You get in a tight situation, and you start to second guess a lot of things that could have erupted, and you find yourself contained. Right? Now, once you follow those rules of self-mastery, right? The next thing you need to step into is your lessons, testings, and blessings. And what I mean by that is, as you go through life on a day-to-day basis, you're gonna get shot out certain tests, right? After you get the test, before getting the test, if you did the lesson, then you get the blessing. Because you're going to get the test. It's all about if you did the lesson. And if you did the lesson, whenever you encounter the test, you overcome and you get the blessing. So how do you actually prepare for all of this? You recognize the God within you, who you are in God, and who God is in you is gonna help you gain that understanding. So you're probably asking yourself, well, how am I supposed to build that? It's using I am. So by giving yourself an understanding that the God is within you, adding a positive to I am increases the God power within you, because whatever you say that you are is what you will become. As long as you build it into the state of belief, which repetition builds belief, that's what will build you up into who you really, really are. Not this weak person that you think you need to fall on all these different crutches, but the power was really all within you. So let's give a quick example of what this all means. Let's say somebody has been doing their lessons and they wake up every day and they talk about how courageous they are, how fearless they are, how powerful, successful, prosperous, whatever the adjective is, as long as it's positive, putting it at the end of I am is only gonna build you up. I am positive. I am happy. I am successful. By placing the positive at the end of I am is how you practice the lesson. Now let's say you practice this all day. You say, I am strong. I am on time. I'm punctual. I am money. I am all these different things just jog through your brain on a day-to-day basis because it's not cluttered with other negative things. As you hold and continue pushing these thoughts and beliefs within your mind when you encounter the test. That's when you got to think back to the lesson. When the test comes and the situation looks like what that guy would be afraid of, what she would be afraid of, what he would be afraid of, but you're not afraid because all day you've been telling yourself the opposite of what this test is trying to push on you. You've been telling yourself the opposite. That you're successful in what you do. You're fearless in what you do. You've been telling yourself the opposite of what this test is. When you see the test and you've been doing the lessons, you're going to push right through it. This is how you kill the adversary. All right? It's on the spot. It is on the spot. And it happens on the spot only if you've been following through with the lessons. Because you're going to get the test. And after you get the test and you just face the lesson, you're like, damn, I thought in my old days, this is me even right now, like in my old days, that would have been so much of a challenge. That would have been so much of something I would have called somebody like, yo, can you help me out with this, that, and the third? So much of all that. Whereas all I did was go into my mind, activate what I need to get going, my positive thoughts, my self-positive motivation, my self-positive awareness, telling myself who I am, who I really am in God's eyes, right? In God's eyes, I'm perfect. I'm not scared of any situation. I could push through any situation. So once I get that understanding, that's when I push through the test. And at the end of the test, I'm like, damn, that was real easy. And what do you reap from after learning your lesson and going through the test? You get your blessing. The lessons, testings, and blessings. All right? Again, when you run into the situation, I don't care what it is, follow the rules of self-mastery. Tell your body how to react. Tell your mind what to think. And tell your feelings how to feel. You have full control over that. Especially when you add the positive at the end of I am, it'll easily push you in a direction of gaining control of yourself, your thoughts, your situation, what you have going on, and how it all works out. So what you want to do at the end of this, all right, how to kill off the adversary. Because remember, the only enemy out there is a divided mind. All right? How do you kill the adversary? Bring your mind together into the oneness. All right? Bring it into a understanding that this stuff out here, this stuff you seeing going on down the street, down that dark alley, is coming from in here. All right? Let me run through that real quick with you. Just so if you're not gaining that full understanding. If you think that guy coming for you down a dark alley, if you think that that's all coming from out here, out there in the world, and you seeing it, you looking, you like, damn, he come from out here. That's the illusion, okay? That's the illusion. If you believe it, that's the delusion. Because it's really coming from in here. And this is where man is running crazy, bruh. He's running crazy. Because awareness is what makes things exist. To you, to me, to everybody, right? Awareness. So while you running around raising awareness within your mind about where this is going on, where this is happening at, it's only leading you closer to it. I explained it in the last video. When you're in fear, when you fear something, you'll notice that most things you fear happen to be a thought that doesn't really leave your mind. It's not something you forget. It's something you've almost been taught to hold on to, keep note of. Well, that's the same thing that happens in terms of what's drawn to you. Whatever you're afraid of is what draws in closer to you. Why? Because that's what's on your train of thought. That's what you're thinking. If you're constantly thinking about what you're afraid of, that's only going to bring it closer to you. Once you bring it to you and that fear comes within you, that's when it gets scary, right? Why? Because whenever you're afraid, that's a negative thought. That's what we call the devil. Anybody that's thinking like the devil is pushed to act like the devil. Why do I say that? Because as a man thinks, so is he. So if you out there, I can only leave it in one category. If you're thinking like him, you're going to be pushed to act. It's going to come out. As a man thinks, so is he. So I'm going to leave y'all right there just so you know and understand. All right? Clear, easy, how to get rid of your adversary. Overcome on the spot. Don't waste no time. You could delay it. You could set it back. However you want to situate it. The idea is for you to knock them down in that one punch. All right. I'm gonna let y'all go. I don't want to make it too long. Gotta get up to the gym or whatever. But whoop-de-whoop. Yo, shout out to everybody checking the videos. Shout out to everybody into the knowledge, into the information. Definitely check out what I'm telling you. It's only a self-empowerment, positive motivation, self-positive awareness, telling yourself what you are, pushing yourself to become that, following through with that, carrying it out throughout your daily life, and not having the negative thoughts in play will lead you to become a more successful person. Y'all know what it is. I'm going to get up off this one. Yeah, I'm out.